Okay, so since I have all kinds of power tools, I'm going to use them. What did I do with the fender? Where did I set? Oh, there it is. Anyway, I'm going to use my disc sander here to shape this, because it'll make super quick work of it. So it's going to get noisy here for a minute. I'm going to turn the dust collector on. So there we have it. That cleaned it up pretty good, rounded it off a little bit. Just took a few seconds. So I'll finish cleaning this up a little bit just to get some of these fuzzies off, and then this is pretty much done. I can just bolt it on. Okay, so what's next? So I don't really think it looks that bad on the bike. It's such a chunky bike that that fender kind of fits it okay. So the next thing I did was I got it bolted on. Like I said, just for appearances, I wanted the round head bolt to the front. And then I let the bolt come through, and I put a nylon lock nut on the back. And I don't know if you can see or not, but I cut the bolt off where it was sticking through, and I filed it flat just so that it won't interfere with this. And I don't think it will. It seems to clear it okay, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. So now the next thing I got to do, I got to put the headlight back on. I'm missing the headlight. Headlight's over here, so I got to put the bracket on, and then the headlight. Okay, so got the headlight back on. She's all back together. So I think that this is going to be a big improvement on keeping the bike clean and keeping myself clean, keeping all the splatter off of me on the bike, because I was having a lot of problems with it before. I don't know if you can see it under here now. It's pretty clean now actually, but this whole down tube would just get coated with crud, and it would splash on the battery, and you know, so now it should keep a lot of that off. So got the headlight back on. I think it still fits the look of the bike. I'm happy with it. Okay, so let's kind of give you something to compare to. Here's the original fender. So that'll show you. It's got quite a bit more coverage. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. So now I go on to the next step here, which is the back fender. Now I don't much like, same thing on the back fender. It doesn't give you, let's see if I can get an angle here. It doesn't give you much protection. I mean, so if I didn't have my top box on this rack, I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. Alright, so this is the holder for my top box. When my top box is on here, if I go through puddles or whatever, it throws the mud and all the crap up all over the top box, on my button and my key slot for, you know, where you open it up and where you remove it from this bracket. It gets mud all over this tail light, you know, and that's not really too cool either. So my thing was, is I wished that I had a longer fender on the back. Now, I haven't really found a fender that I like in the back. It would have to be almost half coverage, and it wouldn't be supported very well. You know, if the fender came all the way down to here, it wouldn't be supported very well. It would wobble around, and I don't want a bunch of brackets going down to the bike. So I found on eBay, this is a little fender extension, and it's got all kinds of mounting possibilities on it. And it's not as wide. Let's see if I can take you off here and show you. It's not as wide as the fender that's on it. So if I slip this underneath here just to give you an idea, and I'm hoping that I can actually mount it on top like this. And so all I want it to do, let me put you back on the tripod over here. All I want it to do is to mount something like this. I'm just going to put it underneath just so you can see. So that it'll extend a little bit and keep the water from splashing up on top, on my back or on my top box, or, you know, on the key lock and that kind of stuff. So it's not quite as wide. It's not going to look exactly perfect, but it's going to be functional and it's going to do the same thing. Now here's the bummer. I got to take this fender off so I can get this lined up and drill some holes in it. And I may cut this duckbill off of here so that I can mount it on the top. And at least this is thin. I can bend it around pretty good. And once I get it set in place where I want it, I can drill some holes in it, put some pop rivets in it, and it'll be fine. But the problem is I got to take this fender off first and the bolts are underneath. So I'm hoping I got an Allen wrench that's long enough with a ball end so that I can get this fender off without having to take this wheel off. How about plan B? I just had another idea here. I'm glad I saw this before I started to do anything else on it. What if I took the front fender and just made an attachment for it? It would do the same thing, right? It fits better. It'll be easier to bond the two pieces together. I can drill through the side to get the rivets on, and that way I won't have to take the fender off, because I don't think I can get to the screws that hold the fender on without taking the wheel off. Now the only thing I got to do is remove these rivets, and that's easy enough. I can grind it on the back side, cut them rivets off, pop them rivets off, and if it has a couple of holes in it, so what? It's, you know, it's still going to keep the majority of the stuff off of me splashing on the bike. It's going to be fine. So I think I'm going to do that. Actually, it's probably going to mount, I don't know, let's see, maybe like this. I might have to cut some of this duckbill off of here just to get it to sit flat. But I think that that's going to be the fix. Might wiggle a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay. So let me do some hacking and grinding here, and I'll be back and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so the only thing I could find that would stick to the fender, believe it or not, was black electrical tape. I know it doesn't make much sense to have black on black if you're trying to use it as a visual, as a marking line, but this is the easiest way I found to cut this, is I'm just using a pair of snips. It's really soft plastic, it cuts really easy. And that's all there is to that. So I'll get a file and I'll clean that up a little bit, and then I'll mark for some holes. I'll drill some holes in it. See if I get this tape off here. That's not horrible. That'll work. Okay, so this is what I'm coming up with. I kind of got it. Got some spring clamps holding it on. I think that's pretty much where I want it. I come over here. And I think that's going to do. I think that's going to keep most of the stuff from splashing up onto the light in the box or me or whatever. So I think the next thing to do is just drill some holes for some rivets. So if I take got 3/16 bit in my cordless drill and drill a hole here. Try not to drill a hole in my finger. Do the same thing on this side. Go to the other side. Okay, let's get some pop rivets. Put some pop rivets in there. And then I'll come back and show you how it looks when I get the clamps off. Now, for attaching this fender, this is just plastic to plastic. It's not going to take much. So for these, I can use these crappy little aluminum black rivets just so you won't see them. But to spread out the distribution on the back side, I got a little washer, so I'm going to put the rivet through, attach the washer to the back side, slip that over, and these little aluminum rivets don't take much force, so this little hand tool is going to be just fine. There we go, there's one. I take the clamp off now. It almost seems like these things should have a steel pin in the center instead of the aluminum, and they would pull in tighter, but let's get this washer on there. There we have it. It's a little wiggly. It's not too bad. So that's what we come up with. It looks centered pretty good. I think it's going to be just fine. It's a little wiggly. It's a little more wiggly than I'd like it to be, but I'm going to run with it for a while, see how it does. I might have to come up with something to stiffen it up. I might have to put a brace, you know, from here somewhere down to this, but I really hate to do that. If I do that, I got to get some kind of a clamp that's going to go around this portion of the bike up to here. You know, I may do it. I don't know. I'm going to ride it for a while, see how it does. Like I say, I hate to put a brace on. I would have to go from here somewhere, you know, somewhere in here down to here. I'd have to get some kind of a clamp to go around this frame so I don't have to drill into the frame. This is the swing arm. This whole thing moves. This is a hollow tube. I really wouldn't want to drill in there. I can get some kind of a rubber back clamp to go on here, and if I have to, I can just run a couple of stays up, and that'll keep it from wiggling around a whole lot. It might be okay just like this. I'm going to run with it a while and see how it does. All I know is it's going to do a far better job of keeping the debris, water and the mud from splashing up on me and on my box and on my tail light. that was getting kind of annoying. I'm trying to keep my bike clean all the time from all the mud that, I mean, it's just from going through puddles and stuff like that. You can't avoid it. I mean, those are always going to be there. So anyway, so I think that that completes my fender modification thing here. So I know I haven't posted a video in a while. It's winter here in Michigan. This is the end of February. I probably got another 2-3 weeks before I'll be able to ride this bike. I don't like riding it when it's super cold because my glasses fog up really bad and I can't see, and it's just not enjoyable. So, you know, we get up into the 40s, yeah, you know, I'll be on it, you know, 40s for lows, let's put it that way. So, you know, I probably got another month or so before I start riding her again, but I got itchy feet. I'm dying to get back on this bike, and it should be a lot better now with these fenders on here. I'm liking that. So if you guys kind of get some ideas from this, that's a good thing. If you like what I'm doing on my videos, you like my tips and some of my little projects that I'm doing, like and subscribe, comment. I answer my comments. Hope to hear from y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.